Hey you guys out there, how are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing fine. Today in this video, I'd like to show you how to do quantitative data, so univariate quantitative displays. So we're going to just talk about displays for quantitative data in Geogebra. So that way you can create some displays and you can use them for a presentation or whatnot, all right? So here we go. Let me show you where we're going. And Geogebra is an online math tool. It has all kinds of math apps, this graphing calculator, and all these other things. But what I really do like about it, at least for our class, is it has some really cool statistics things that you can do, and it's fairly easy to use. There are a lot of things out there. You know, there's StatCrunch, there's Desmos, and all those other tools, Excel. Spreadsheets, all of these tools do some statistical stuff, but I really do like the ease of Geogebra and the user interface. So we'll be using this a lot in my class. Hopefully, if I can get out there and make more videos and using the other tools, I'll do that. But today, we're just looking at Geogebra. So you go to geogebra.org, and I'm going to use Geogebra Classic because I just like using the Classic for its spreadsheet. So I'm going to click on Geogebra Classic. And right here it says spreadsheet, so I'm going to use the spreadsheet. So I'm going to click spreadsheet, and you saw there was a graphic tool and stuff. I don't need my little functionality thing here, so I'm just going to X that out so that I can see this a little bit better. So here we have a spreadsheet, and what I'm going to do is remember using univariate. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of using univariate data. On a previous video I made, I talked about the types of univariate displays. For quantitative data, we have stem and leaf plots, we have histograms, we have box and whisker plots, we have dot plots. So all of these types of plots we can use to analyze and describe data. Now, Geogebra, really there isn't a great program that I found out there that makes stem and leaf plots. So if you guys find something that's better for stem and leaf, let me know. I do use Google Sheets to do it, but it's a little bit of a tedious process, but it could be done. Stem and leaf plots really for small data sets, probably much easier just to do those by hand, but again, it's a small data set procedure. So today on this video, I'm going to look at parallel box plots, box and whisker plots, and histograms specifically to show you how to do that. So let's take a look at an example I have here, and let's suppose that we ask some people a question. How many hours of studying or homework do you do per week? I go over with the classes, and I separate them into male and female. So I'm going to take these male data. Actually, we'll take all these data and we'll put them into the Geogebra spreadsheet. So let me go and do that. So we're going to go male. We're going to take these data, put them in the spreadsheet, and these data and put them in the spreadsheet. Okay, so I entered in the male data in column A, and I'm entered in the female data in column B. And so what we're going to do is, let me just show you how to make a histogram. So a single histogram of a single set. So what we can do is we can scroll here and we can drag and highlight that whole column. We can also just highlight the column A like that. We see a histogram right above it. We're going to click on that, and it gives you three options: one variable analysis, two variable regression, which we'll do much later, or multiple variable analysis. Now we're only doing one set, so we're going to do one variable analysis. We're going to go and click that, and we get our histogram. So we've got our histogram here. And what Geogebra lacks is the opportunity to label our histograms with context, because remember, we want to make sure that if we're reporting this in real life, we're writing down what each of these are. Furthermore, this is a frequency here, and sometimes we want relative frequency, so we want to know what the percentages are. I do believe that there is an option to do this. Oops, I didn't want to do that. I'm not sure. Let's do this. There we go. So then right here it says count, relative, or normalized. So I'm going to click relative, and that'll change these to percentages. So you see down these are in decimals and percentages. So how did I do that? I click the little toolbar here, the little settings, and it allows me to change the settings for that. Okay, so if I click that again, it goes away, and now I have relative frequency. Now I can change, if I do this slider tool, what that'll do is it'll change my scale on the bottom. Now normally you want to keep the scale the same as what it had before, but it changes the number of bins that we have. So this is appropriate, I think, for what we need. So now I'm sure you noticed, if I click here, I can see different ones. Now a bar chart is really for categorical data. So what you'll see is it separates things. We don't want to use a bar chart, right? These are quantitative data. We want to use a histogram. We could do a box plot. That would be a box and whisker plot. Look, there we go. We got our box and whiskers. The beautiful thing about this is if you you click on things, it'll show you some of the pieces here, and we'll be able to I'll show you how to do the statistics later on so that we can actually analyze this. But if we click on this little thing, it'll show us our important statistics. We'll get back to that because I'll have another video on that. The dot plot, okay, there we have a dot plot. It's not a great, you know, the dot plot isn't the best dot plot, but you know, it is there. So we've got 3 dots. Ideally, I'd like to see these a little bit better, but you know, that'll be our dot plot. We could do a stem and leaf plot. Oh, look at that. So GeoGebra does do stem and leaf plots. So here's and it gives us a key, which is great. Awesome. So you could do a stem and leaf plot for these data. That's a great. I don't know if I've seen that feature before, so that's awesome. And then we're not really going to do a normal quintile plot, so or quintile plot. So you don't need to worry about that. So we've got histograms, box plots, dot plots, and stem and leaf plots all available to you on GeoGebra, which is great. Let's suppose we want to do a comparison of the 2 sets of data. So what we would do is we would highlight both sets of data, click on our one variable analysis. Again, oops, actually what we want to do is, sorry, it's a little slow. We want to highlight the data this way. So don't highlight the columns, highlight the actual data that you want. Click on this again, and we're going to do multiple variable analysis. What that does is it allows us to see the 2 variables and compare them. So this here, this is going to be my male data. This is my female data. We can now compare the box plots in stacked box plots, which is really the only options it's going to give you for these. So we don't have like back-to-back stem and leaf or back-to-back histograms. All we have the option of this is stacked box plots. But hey, this is pretty good because we can make comparisons using stacked box plots. All right. Okay, so I want to show you one more thing using GeoGebra here, and the situation where, let's suppose we have responses. How do you rate the class so far? And we have a lot of data. So instead of, you know, putting all the data down in one, we're going to have the rating and then the frequency of that rating. So what we're going to do is we're going to enter this in. The rating is going to go in one column and the frequency is going to go in the other column. So let's go ahead and enter that into GeoGebra now. All right, so I've entered these guys in. Column A is my rating, and column B is my frequency. So again, here we've got rating 0 to 5, frequency 3, 10, 12, 19, 11, and 4. All right, I just created a new spreadsheet, by the way, so I can clear the other one out. So what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to highlight the fields like I did before, and this time I'm going to say one variable analysis. So what it's going to do is it's going to say, oh, okay, so I'm going to take my first column, and then my second column is going to be the amount of things from my first column. So I'm going to do one variable analysis, and that should give me this thing. And it starts as a bar chart. We don't want a bar chart. We want a histogram. So we're going to go in histogram. And now I have my histogram of these data. And maybe I want to change the scale. There we go. So now we have each of these in its own bin. I could do a histogram or I can do a box plot, but those are my only 2 options for this type. So it will not give it to me in a stem and leaf plot, but I mean, it's kind of silly to put that in a stem and leaf plot anyway. So we've got our histogram. All right, and we can analyze this histogram. Again, we can do the same thing if we want relative frequency. We click on this little tool thing and we say we want, oh, I guess it doesn't give me the option for relative frequency. Yeah, it's not going to give me the option for relative frequency. So we might want to do that on our own. We can do a frequency polygon, but we don't really need that at this time. Okay, so it's not really going to be relative, but at least it gives me this. And if I wanted to do relative, what I can do is I could do the total and then put my relative frequencies here, so in percentages. So what I would do is I would add up, and I have to do this by hand. I would add up these numbers, and then I would do 3 divided by that number, and I put my decimal, 10 divided by that number, do the decimal, and then I would highlight this one, hit Control, and then highlight the second column. Okay, Control allows you to highlight those 2 columns, and then I do my one variable analysis again, and then it'll give me these as percentages. So sometimes you got to do a little bit of work by hand. Okay, all right, so there you go, guys. That's how you use GeoGebra to do some common quantitative displays. We'll catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Later.